Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first, hopefully, of many Wise Women series. So the Wise Women series is all about where we interview those who have traveled the winding road of self-discovery, of intuitive growth, and of spiritual understanding. And it's really intended to help you, the viewers, in nurturing your growth and expansion as you embark on your own intuitive journey. And for our first Wise Women series event, I guess we can call it, we have Dory Dzinski. Did I say that right? Dory
Perfect.
Dzinski?
Perfect.
Yes, it's kind of hard.
Invisible eye.
Right? Yeah.
Pretend there's an eye between the D and the Z.
So Dory is a state licensed psychotherapist specializing in spirituality for nearly 20 years. She teaches many spiritual classes across Connecticut and Massachusetts, and was the editor and publisher of the Door Opener magazine, which is now an online practitioner resource and ground host for her Soul Light Expos, the Greater Vernon Holistic Health Fest, and Farmington Valley Holistic Health Fest. Oh. So thank you, Dory. Thank you for joining me today. And
thank you for inviting me. What fun. I didn't realize I was the first guest. Quite an honor. Thank you.
Well, I don't know who else I would come to first, as you have been such a big influence in my life, in my spiritual growth. So I thought it was only fitting to have you.
Thanks.
So Dory, the first thing I want to ask you, which I really like to ask everyone that I kind of come in contact with, is can you tell us a little bit about your astrological chart? Do you know your signs? What signs do you know? Do you know anything interesting about your astrological chart that you think is interesting?
I am a Sagittarius.
You are.
Yes.
That's not surprising. You're incredibly optimistic.
Optimistic and independent.
Yes.
I don't believe Sagittarians like to be tethered to anything.
They love to be free.
Yes, we do, which can cause problems if people don't want us to be free. I'm even so opposed to be tethered that very few people have my cell phone number.
Really?
I leave it in the back room. Nope, you use my landline and I will choose to return the call or not. I have people sitting in my chair, which I'm looking over here because the client chair is right there. And honest to God, every 5 or 10 minutes, they're looking because they wear the
Apple Watch or
Apple Watch. Yeah, it's like somebody's calling them, so they have to look. Somebody's texting them, they have to look. Somebody is emailing them, they have to look. And it's like, we're trying to do a session here, just put this away. And I can't do that. I am not a late responder as far as getting back to people with messages and things like that. But I guess it's hard for us fire signs to be at beck and call, if you will.
Oh, yeah. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are hard to tame. You can't be tamed.
Cannot be tamed. And also, I always say about a Sagittarius, because I have quite a few Sagittariuses in my life. We all sort of get each other. Because it's the Archer and it has
sorry.
No problem. We've got that arrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's our tongue, I believe. And we have there's a strong possibility of us putting thoughts to mouth before it goes through the heart. So we have to train ourselves to sort of soften, because we are brutally honest. And sometimes it comes off as, oh my gosh. But we're the ones you want to ask, about anything you're kind of concerned with. Does this, even something superficial, like, does this look good on me? That kind of stuff. And so
you guys are brutally honest.
We are. I was taught long ago, you can, as a therapist, you can say anything to someone if it's coming from the heart. And people will be more receptive to hearing things like that.
And you know what's interesting about fire signs is I always think of water as the opposite of
Mhm.
fire. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. So it's interesting that you have to really, really think about, being more in a water space
Mhm.
when you're speaking
Yeah,
your
it's all the
truth.
delivery system. Yeah.
Right. That's very cool. I am a Sagittarian
Ah,
ascendant.
no idea what that
So
means.
your ascendant sign is supposedly like how you view the
Ah,
world and how you think people see you.
okay. Yeah, I could see that in
So,
you.
yes, hopefully my cough goes away. But yes, so I'm very optimistic and upbeat and fiery when people first
Yeah.
meet me. But I'm really a Pisces.
Ah, I
Pisces. So
feel it.
at my heart, I'm really a Pisces. So, but I can relate to a lot of the things that you said. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. So that's cool. I never knew you were a
Yeah, there you go.
Sagittarius. All right. So next, I want to start at the beginning of your, I guess what you would call your spiritual journey. When did you become first interested in spirituality, and how did your, I guess, journey go from there?
Not until I was in my late 30s, probably. So what's interesting, I grew up Catholic, as many, many people do, but I would go to church with my father. Now you have, I'm going to do this backwards. You have the altar, then you have the congregation, then you have the wall with the doors, and then you have the foyer. My father and I would sit in the foyer. We were never in the congregation. We could never see the altar. The doors were closed and we were sitting in the foyer because my father would do collection with the baskets. So that's what I knew of church. I went to a parochial school, 1 through 8, nuns, things like that. But I didn't really connect with the teachings too much.
Okay. Mhm.
And from a personal perspective, being behind those doors, I didn't connect with the community.
Yeah,
Or
that's so crazy that that's how you experience church.
yeah, through the speakers. Couldn't even see what was going on the altar. So I guess when I went to college, I stepped away from the church and I didn't feel any connection to begin with.
Right. So why would you keep it going when you
Exactly.
became an individual?
Yeah, exactly right. So when I went college, got married in a Catholic church because that's what you do with a Catholic family, right?
Right.
And then moved to Collinsville and noticed a little church down the street, very medieval, all stone, gorgeous inside. And something just pulled me there.
Cool.
And I went to a few masses and I'm like, I love this church. And I actually would sit where the people were.
Right.
And it felt better. It felt better. I became a lector. I was a lector for 8 years. So I was up on the altar. So from being behind the doors, then I was up on the altar with the priest facing the congregation. I was parish council president.
Wow.
And was really involved with that church.
Cool.
Eventually stepped away. I felt like I wasn't in my truth anymore because this is the best way I think of it. I think Catholicism for me is too confining because I have all these expanded beliefs. And it wasn't a fit anymore. So I've been out of the church for quite a while. Quite a while. I still have a nun as a very good friend, ex-nun, very good friend, buddies with one of the priests that used to be there. But the nun is a Reiki master teacher,
Cool.
ex-nun. And the priest is just this expanded thought guy. I'm not going to say he believes in outrageous things that are outside, it's still in the confines of the church, but he feels energy, and he feels he's a very deep soul, and he's a lovely person. I don't even know when the last time was that I went to a mass, a full-fledged mass. So when I went to St. Joe's, all right, so then I worked at a law firm for 25 years. And the last 5 years, I was doing my counseling degree at the same time. I had started to notice that a lot of clients, and we were strictly personal injury. It was a very elite firm at the time. It handled huge things that happened in Connecticut, all tragedies. So it was around a lot of death, destruction, loss of life and limb. Wow. and all.
It's intense.
And clients would call me. They wouldn't want to talk to my boss. They would just want to talk to me for a little while. I began to notice that. I'm like, I kind of like this. And I kind of think I might belong here. So something led me to St. Joseph's, and I got my master's in counseling. And I can't even say that was there wasn't a lot of exploration. It was sort of just do this.
How old were you at that time?
That was 25 years ago.
Okay.
So 40, 38.
Because I think it's interesting.
Whatever the numbers are, the horrible numbers. But it wasn't like, I think I should become a counselor. Let me look at all the programs. It was like, you're going to go to St. Joe's. And it felt right. It felt right. I get a lot of guidance, and I respond. It's all done with discernment. So, there has to be assessment. What might go wrong? What might this really be? And this was as clear as a bell. So I was doing my master's while I was still working full-time at the law firm.
Okay.
I had just gotten a divorce, two little kids, and I was also going to the Institute of Healing Arts and Sciences on weekends at the same time. Now that might seem like a lot. It aligned flawlessly. I wasn't hectic. I wasn't scattered. It was just flawless. When you're aligned to purpose and you're doing what you're meant to do, you shouldn't be swimming uphill. It should be spread out for you where you could just step into it. So if people are working too hard and kind of clawing at their goals, you're probably looking at the wrong goals. Something has to be altered or amended, or it's not your goal at all. So I finished that, and I stepped away from the law firm on the day of my 25th anniversary of when I had started there.
Wow.
And it was just like jump. Started my own practice. Wow. I've been teaching stuff, spiritually related stuff, since 1998. I think my very first spiritual encounter, if you will, with teachers and other people was a tarot reading.
Did you receive the tarot reading?
Yes.
Oh.
I really didn't know what it was. I was 35, I think.
Yeah.
So now we're like 28 years ago. I'm 62 now. So 28 years ago, I don't know, same thing.
Yeah.
Go here, call this woman, make an appointment, and go see her.
Interesting.
I don't know why, but there I go. And it was interesting. It was an interesting reading. And she said, I need to work on vulnerability and forgiveness. Like, okay, vulnerability is kind of terrifying.
That's why you need to
But
work
okay,
on it.
but forgiveness, I get it. I get it because I knew what she was talking about. And lo and behold, my very first class, now this is before I even went to St. Joe's, my very first class at St. Joe's, I was taking three at the same time. So one of them, the teacher said, everybody's going to do a 20-minute presentation on some counseling topic. So people are like depression, anxiety, OCD and stuff. And I said, I'll do mine on forgiveness. And he said, I don't know if that's a topic, a counseling topic. I'm like, I want to try. He's like, okay. So I made up, I did not meditate back then in my 30s. Or whatever the timing was, the past all seems like a blur. But I did this little meditation, did some stuff on forgiveness, and people were crying.
Wow.
And I was like, what is going on? What is this? And there was a blind guy in the class, 90% blind. And we became very, very, very good friends, And I didn't know him. And afterwards he said, your voice is so beautiful. And of course, I can't accept compliments. I'm not even sure that's true to this day. But yet that statement impacted me, true or untrue. I just felt something from that. I'm like, oh, okay. And then other people are like, you got to take this on the road. You've got something there. And I'm like, I don't know what I would take on the road. I have 20 minutes of content. What am I going to take on the road?
Right.
But that stayed with me. It still stayed with me. So it was gnawing. Okay. When the soul awakens, it is so pesty. You cannot shut your soul back down. It will not go back to sleep. It is relentless. And it haunts you. And it's just like, okay, let me rest for a minute. No, you must move forward. You must do what you're meant to do here.
Right.
Which is actually quite fun. So this was gnawing at me. And I would go to class and they're like, did you offer it anywhere else? I'm like, no, I did not. And they're like, come on, you got it. Okay. So during lunch one day at the law firm, I made a call to West Hartford Continuing Ed. And I said to the woman who answered the phone, I said, hi, my name is Dory Dzinski, and I have this little forgiveness class. And I was wondering if you guys would be interested. She said, yeah, what date are you thinking of?
Whoa.
I'm thinking to myself, don't you want to know who I am?
Right.
Or if I have any credentials, or like what this is about, or no, what date? And I was completely unprepared, but I gave her a date. And I started teaching forgiveness workshops in 1998. And then it just grew from there. Then I've been teaching meditation for like 20 years. And all kinds of stuff.
And like you said, I mean, that was another instance where the door was just open. Like you just walked right on through. Like, as if it was just waiting for you.
I had not had that kind of experience before in my life.
Right.
So, I don't know who would call me at 10 of 8. Anybody that I know?
Probably not. Probably a scammer.
Sagittarius, do not call me.
Exactly. Definitely not picking up.
I don't know what that is. Yeah. So I have learned that things, and again, all this is with discernment, because some things could be too easy and they're not really for you. There's another aspect of it.
Right.
You have to learn to say no, or you have to create a boundary or whatever. But I have learned that so many things are just sort of offered up to me. Right. And I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
It's I want to say it's astonishing, but I shouldn't say that, because once you start living an aligned life, that's just how it works.
Right. I remember, I was listening to this conversation that a woman, an author that I listened to, and she said that she like ran up to her grandmother one time and was like trying to tell her grandmother about, a sign that she had gotten from the universe or a sign, and her grandmother was just like, oh, like just like how you breathe, like just like how your heart beats. Like it wasn't like, her grandmother was just trying to say, like, this isn't like a weird, crazy thing. This happens all of the time. Like, this is how you should be living. Like,
Yes,
this
yes,
is how, this is how it is. Like, it's not an astonishing thing.
and I didn't even know that world. My parents were
Right.
not involved in that world. Anything outside of Catholicism was, don't go near it. Tarot, oh my God, the work of the devil.
Oh, yeah, I get
No,
that all the time.
but it's not. It's actually started out as a Christian game.
Oh,
It
it
has,
did?
it has
I didn't
Christian roots. Yeah, there's a different histories about it. One of them is it was played. Yeah. Anyway, so all that stuff was very scary to my family and not
Right.
embraced at all. My mother had prophetic dreams, supposedly, but this is what she would do. Oh, I had a dream. And then nothing. And we'd be like, what was it about? Oh, no, 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 no. It's like, Ma, what was the dream about? Oh, no, 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 can't talk about it. That's as far as we would get. She had another dream, but nobody knew anything about it. It terrified her. It terrified her. So any of that was, don't go near anything like that.
That's another question I actually have on here. It's kind of along the same lines of, a lot of people that I work with, they always they don't know how to be authentically spiritual because it's so taboo, or like their parents, will look down on them for it, or they were raised, a Catholic or any sort of Christian denomination. And I feel like because of the judgment that they feel from their peers, they don't then lean into it and they're scared of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what have you done in those experiences, or what advice do you have for people who definitely feel that, like,
don't tell them? A lot of my clients in my counseling practice, and I could be very clinical. I go from here to here, very, very clinical to spiritual emergence.
right?
I work with first responders and I'm a debriefer. So there's all these different languages I speak. For the people who are emerging spiritually, we have to be very, and I'm going to use that word again, discerning as far as who we could talk to about it.
Yeah.
If we are going to expose our truth, our authenticity, what we're here for, our soul contract, whatever you want to say, and it is going to be attacked, we need to protect it. Okay, do not set it up for attack. We don't need to prove anything to anybody. We don't have to change anyone's mind. We just need to live our truth and our purpose. That's it. And sometimes we have to safeguard and protect our purpose. If it's going to be ridiculed or criticized or belittled or we're humiliated, anything like that. So if you have an opportunity to have that choice, and it's someone that is going to try to hurt you, keep it close to the vest.
And even step into it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. There have been times where,
the other side of the coin though is, depending on what your truth is, you may go public with it. You may have to go public. Okay.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
Yes. Yes.
Like I can't hide it.
Right. Right. So people who have personal spirituality, And then there's people who have public spirituality.
Mhm.
Okay. Public spirituality like yours. You know, you have the Instagram, you have the teachings, you're out there in the world. So you are exposing yourself to the potential. But these days, 2021, you know, even a couple years ago, spirituality is so mainstream.
I know.
It's being embraced so beautifully,
It
and
is.
and the masses of people are getting it, even the paranormal stuff. How much do we have on TV?
So much.
So much.
I grew up watching paranormal shows.
Right. This is normal. So this is the blessing of the public spirituality, where it's not going to be attacked the way it is perhaps in somebody's home with
Right.
olden thinkers, and if that makes any sense. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I think.
mother would die. Some of the beliefs that I have.
Oh,
She would just, you know, fall off onto the ground, and that would be the end. You know?
right. Yeah. I mean, my dad, he'll just like, he doesn't really believe in all of it. And he'll just ask me these questions or make these like blank statements. And I just think to myself, I don't even know like where to start. I don't even know, like it's not even worth it. Like I can't, like it's just like this huge barrier that I'm just like, okay, you're over here and I'm here and this is the way that it is.
Yeah, we you know, you respect each other's beliefs.
Right.
Never the two shall meet. Or maybe someday, once he has his own experience, which, you know, this is so normal.
Oh, and he
It's
has
only-
had his own experiences. He
Sure.
just, you know,
Right.
yeah, stubborn.
Yeah. Well, hopefully in the privacy of his own mind, he kind of,
Oh, he does. He
What was
definitely does. He likes to say, oh, I like to just, play with you and push your buttons. and all
Oh,
that.
Dad.
Okay. But it can be hard because, and I relate to a lot of the people that I talk with, because it is hard to like kind of be upfront and honest, with my parents about everything that I'm doing. And I want to be, but if it's not going to be as accepted, then, I keep some stuff to myself, and that's okay, until they're ready.
Our dreams, it's okay to protect our dreams.
Yeah, for sure. I think that you have to. I think that you're the only person, yourself better than anyone else, and nobody can ever tell you where you should be going or what your beliefs should be. Like, in the moment that you give somebody else that power, that's when you have lost yourself.
Yeah, that actually came up today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in conversation, talking about readers with someone. You're a billion% right. We are experts on ourselves. And I have witnessed certain readers. I heard a conversation, and then I witnessed an exchange. And in both instances, the reader told the sitter information about themselves. And the sitter said, that doesn't really feel like me, which I give the sitter credit for, because they're using their expertise on themselves and saying, no, I know me and I'm not in denial, and that is not me. But the reader overrode that and said, no, you just don't know yet. And I'm like, wait, nope. Moral of the story, I'm an expert on me, you're an expert on you, everybody else, who watches is an expert on themselves. Yes. And I don't know why this topic is coming up. I almost get the feeling that, somebody is wrestling with that right now, that someone is trying to tell them who they are. This happens in relationships a lot. Where you're kind of told who you're supposed to be. And for a while, people believe it until they don't.
Well,
but we truly are an expert on ourselves.
Yes, for sure. And, I remember, which I have this here in my notes too, a time where it was it was after the first Soul Light Expo that I went to, and you asked if I had gotten a reading. And I said, no, I didn't get a reading. And you were like, and you made a comment like, good, because you're like me. You don't need anybody to tell you what you already know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted you to elaborate on that. But we kind of talked about it already, I guess.
No, I can see.
But yeah, elaborate on that. And also, since then, I have gotten a lot of readings just out of pure curiosity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I have found that, there are readings that really resonate, and there are readings that I'm just like, well, that was a waste of money.
Yeah. Yeah. The most important thing with a reader is to be sure who the reading is about.
Okay.
So oftentimes people will go and get a reading, and they'll come out and they'll say, oh my God, she or he knew this, and they knew this, and they knew this, and they knew that. It was amazing. That's about the reader. What did you learn? What did you learn? Yeah. You're not going to a reader for them to show you, what they can pick up from you. You're going to learn something about yourself, get a piece of information that you go out into the world with. Okay. So people going for readings, what's in it for you? That's key. All right. I think readers are awesome. I think they're a lot of fun. I think it's good for people to have someone say, not in so many words, but I know you, I see you. You're spunky, aren't you? Or you're very shy, but that there's a lot going on inside you. And people are like, yeah, there's value in that for people that they don't have people that reflect them back to themselves. People don't really see them or honor them, or, that's very, very valuable. People have to be careful making plans and counting on what a reader says.
Yeah.
I am of the firm belief, and I know people disagree with me. I don't think anyone could predict the future.
Right.
I just don't think it can be done.
Well, I don't think the future is set in stone. I think it's always changing.
There's
there
too
are
many
possibilities.
Right. There's no guarantees. There's no
because, in my belief, we are all energy. And so we're all sending out vibrations and we're all receiving stuff. So the 1 minute someone can decide to do something different, and then it affects the masses.
You. Yeah.
Yes, and it could affect me. And then my future could change because of that.
Right. So again, it's coming home to yourself, being an expert on you, taking what's of value and leaving behind the rest. But I don't think people should make life decisions based on what a reader says.
Right.
I've known people who have moved to other states because the reader says there's nothing here for you. There's no love here. It's over there. So people have literally up and moved over there. Lo and behold, it wasn't over there either. So they come back. You just have to be in the right headspace. I'm trying to be non-Sagittarius about saying this.
Trying not to be too blunt.
Right.
I think you have to practice discernment, and you have to take everything that a reader says to you, and you have to put it up against what you're feeling about the situation.
Yeah. Don't give your power away.
Right. Exactly.
Not give your power away.
Right. At the end of the day, if something like a move doesn't feel right, then you probably shouldn't do it.
Or if you're believing a third party. I mean, there's so many reasons people go to readers, and they are fun. Readings are fun.
Oh yeah.
But if you live your life according to what this third party says to you, where are you?
Right.
You're the leaf and you're being driven by the current going down the brook, and where's your sense of choice?
But
You
the
know?
interesting thing is everybody has the ability to sail their own boat
Mm-hmm,
and to
mm-hmm.
set the course for themselves.
And that's what a good reading will reinforce for people.
Right.
Hands the power back to them.
Right. Tells them, you've known this all along. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is, because for me, every time I've gone to a reading, it just reinforces, how I've been feeling or, what
Yeah.
I've been pulled
Mm-hmm.
towards. And so it's really just like a stamp of approval for me,
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
And I think that that's like when I read tarot for people, I try to have them guide the reading just as much as I am, because
Mm-hmm.
like it's more about them. I don't know their situation. So they should be the ones that are, putting all these pieces together and figuring it out for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think
Exactly.
it teaches them how to do
That's what
that.
a good reader does. You're a good reader. It doesn't tell, they don't tell people what to do.
No.
You have to do this, and I don't know if you don't, things are going to go awry. No. So, you get good readers, and it's fun. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, that's not to say there are times where I definitely want to say, more, or I want to be more blunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not my place.
Unless they ask.
Unless they ask my
The
true
direct
opinion of
invitation.
what the cards are saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I had a couple of interesting experiences, and this is more negative. But I kind of want people to be kind of aware. So Archie died, my greyhound died back in January.
yeah.
And because of the community I'm in, and I love these people, the spiritual community, they're just good-hearted people. But a couple people I didn't know approached me, like direct messaged me, and said, Archie's here and he wants you to know that this, that, and if you want to know more, contact me.
That's weird.
I'm like, okay, number one, Archie would never talk to a stranger.
Right.
Greyhounds are very talk to the hand. They're not like, oh, who are you? I'm gonna play with you. They are not like that at all. They're very aloof, and for the most part. And I have such a direct line to him. I don't need an intermediary, and he's not going to go to somebody and say, hey, can you try to get my mom's attention, because she's not paying attention to me. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. But the part that sort of disturbed me is, if you want more, contact me.
Yeah, that's icky.
It's like, yeah. I'm like, what? It kind of took me aback. That's never happened to me before. Nobody's ever tried to solicit from me, basically because I own the door opener and I do this, and people know who I am, but I didn't know these people, and maybe they didn't know me.
Oh, they obviously don't know you.
They're like, here's this poor thing that's broken, and maybe I can get a customer out of here. They're very few and far between, but it's disappointing that has to exist.
Right.
And my daughter said, ooh, those are predators. I'm like, ooh, that's a rough word. That's a rough word, but it might be accurate.
Yeah. I mean, anything for a little bit of money, huh?
Yeah. But as far as spirituality is concerned, I've run grief groups for 14 years now, and we always get into signs, visitations, odd, peripheral, what was that? What did I hear? What did I smell? All of that. And people are a little shy, or maybe they're terrified to initially talk about that, because you could see them kind of, can I ask a question? And I know exactly what they're going to ask. After all these years, I know people are going to get into that category. And they're like, does anybody kind of hear from their loved one? And everybody's like, oh yeah. And they all talk about, different instances and things like that. So that we always head in that direction, the more expanded thought.
Yeah, I heard a quote, I think it was like a couple weeks ago, on how like it's just learning how to have a different relationship with those who have passed over. It's not that the relationship has to end, but
Yeah.
learning how to receive, messages in a different way.
Yep. And it's different for everybody.
It is. And that's the hardest part, I think, about spirituality and, the things that I do is I really, I'm so interested in helping people be in touch with their spirituality, but that can come in so many forms.
Oh, it's countless ways. Yeah.
That it's hard to like be like, well, yeah, like I can help you do A, B. It's not like that.
Kindness is spirituality. Kindness to fellow man, kindness to animals, kindness to the trees, kindness to the planet. That's very spiritual.
I like that. Yeah, maybe I need to think smaller or, not so big about it as much.
Just know that there's different varieties.
Right.
You can't. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and people are doing a lot of those different varieties already.
Yeah.
They just don't realize it.
They don't realize I don't have a spirituality. Well, it's not a belief in something. Have you ever been to a soup kitchen? That's a spiritual experience, tending to the souls of others in need. That's very spiritual. These mundane little everyday things, smiling at somebody, could be a spiritual experience. Nobody smiled at that person. We can't smile these days, but you can with your eyes. Like my eyebrows go up and down a lot, right? I have expressive eyes. So you can tell I'm smiling and my eyes get squinty. So you could tell. That connection alone of people meeting eyes for just that moment, that could be a very deep connection. I see you, I recognize you. I don't know about you, but the grocery store is just so weird. It's a weird place. When we used to be able to go up and down the aisles, I'm one of those people where I'll look at somebody and I'll smile walking past them, I'm just kind of bouncing around into the grocery store, and people go like this when they pass by other people. And I'm like, and I'm going to stare at them just hoping, like I'm not like a stalker, like weirdly creeping on people in the grocery store. Like, I'm going to stare at you until you meet my eyes. It's not like that, but I'm available. My face is available in the grocery store. And when people look away, I'm like, I just want to have a little connection, like a split second. Just give me a split second of humanity, but
if they're not open to it, then
you wonder if the soul is starving a little bit. That soul is a little starving, or it's fearful, or it's embarrassed. Like what is it in people that they don't even want to meet people's eyes for just that moment, just that moment? I'm not going to know anything about you. You're not going to know anything about me, but we're here together, and I'm just saying hi, without words. Just that's spiritual. So many things are, and we just don't consider them as such.
I love that. That's amazing. That's so insightful for even me. I want to talk a little bit about your gifts. Or why do you shake your head no?
Because I guess I'm not overt about it.
I've never even heard you mention them. I don't even.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know anything about. But I have experienced a Reiki session from you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I do a lot of, I've been an energy trainer for 23 years. But as far as the gifts, like I'm more intuitive than I tell people I am. Like I won't tell people I'm a reader because I don't consider myself a reader. And yet when I talk with my clients, consistently, I'll say something and they're like, why did you say that? That's so weird that you would say that. Like all the time. It happens all the time. And then my healings are very intuitive. I get a lot of visions and metaphors and symbols and things like that. I'm very Jungian, so you know, I'll get a picture of something that is not on its face what, like a picture of a kite. It's not about a kite. It's about something that the kite represents. So I get all that kind of stuff. Um, all kinds of things happen just in regular counseling sessions that
I was
people
going to
are
say,
like, why did you say that? Why did you ask me that? You know, I don't know.
is it just pops into your head and you're just like, I need
Yeah.
to say this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
When did you kind of start to realize that that was something different than just normal
I don't know.
headspace?
And that's the honest answer. I don't know. It wasn't in my teens. It wasn't in my 20s. It wasn't in my 30s. Probably in my 40s, maybe when
Right,
I was
along the way, along the journey.
somewhere along the way. And I guess maybe when I signed up for the Institute of Healing Arts and Sciences, which is a 3-year program on healing and intuition, all that kind of stuff, and learn to, what are these pictures and what do they represent? Are they mine? Are they yours? Are they my imagination? The way I teach people about people who see, the people who have vision, get the gift of vision instead of knowingness or anything. Are is your imagination that good? Is that something you would really think of? Because for me, I would never think of some of the stuff that I see.
Right.
That's not in my wheelhouse. And I need to send it through a filter first. Did I see a commercial about this? Did I hear something on the radio about this? Was I
Right.
having a
We're
conversation?
always
And if
questioning
the answer's
ourselves even.
right, and if the answer is no, then where did it come from? Because
Right.
I'm not broad enough to have thought that up, so
Right.
it must belong to the person.
Right.
So people who question, and when you're first starting out, it's always a question. Oh, it's my imagination. No, not necessarily. I mean, sometimes it could be, but then you learn that maybe it's not your imagination. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I think,
go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, I think the more that you pay attention to it,
Yes. Yes.
I always tell people, if there's an instance where, something just pops up in your head or whatever, just file it away and remember it and then see, as you go along, does it happen again? Or did that refer to something? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think all of us have learned the hard way to pay attention to those gut feelings.
Yeah.
It's inevitable that it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I knew that. Right. Why don't I learn? So for me, they're very subtle. For myself, they're very subtle. It's like some sort of flittering thought over here. And even though it's very light, like a feather, I need to pay attention to that.
Right.
It's not hitting me in the face, but I need to respond to that, because over and over I get myself in trouble. It's like, if you had just listened to yourself.
Right. If you had just paid attention or yeah. For those that are interested in growing their own gifts and, intuition or, whatever it is that they want to expand and grow upon in their spiritual journey, what advice or?
A lot of people will ask, what's a good book? Now, if you look behind me, I mean, my books go that way,
Your
and my
books
books go that way,
for years.
and my books go up. And I don't know, maybe that's why people say, what's a good book to start with? You could read a book, absolutely, but this is an experiential way of life.
Right.
You've
It's
got to
living it.
You've got to live it. Exactly. You've got to live it. So, unfortunately, being in COVID times, we're very limited as far as getting together and
Right.
practicing things like that. But it's best find a class,
Yeah.
a spiritual development class. Now, are they held online? Sure. Sure. I'm going to push this back a little bit. They're held online. I think we are finally getting to the place of meeting in person, like my pet grief group. Now, I stopped doing human grief about three and a half years ago, and now I do pet grief, which is a huge growth point for me, because years ago I wouldn't even be able to touch that topic without dissolving into a mess, and
Yeah.
now I do. And we meet in person. So if you could find something, whatever interest you have, and you have to pay attention to sort of what you're drawn to. What do you watch on YouTube? What are you mesmerized by? What do you go to on TV or streaming services? Do you listen to mediums? Do you pay attention to aliens? Do you love shows with angels? Like, what is your interest? And you already know. People
Right.
already know.
You've already been interested in it for
Exactly.
probably a while.
Exactly. So that's the place to start. As far as an example is, like I've taught meditation for years, and my whole thing is there's not one way to meditate. Okay. There's
Right.
actually like 10,000 different ways
Agreed.
to meditate.
Yeah.
And I tell people, if you are sort of drawn to meditating to music, you already know which song works for you, which type of music works for you. It's already in your library. So look around your house. What kind of books do you have there? What's on your Audible? What TV shows are in your queue? Or, you might be waiting for Thursday night because this show is on. You already know. So that's where to start. You're already connected. And then it's awful with the spiritual life. It's awful because you walk through one door and you're like, oh my God. And now there's 10 more doors. You're like, oh my God, I love all of these, but I can only pick, there's only so many hours in the day, right? So you pick a couple more and you go through those, and now there's even more. It just builds because it's such an engaging and exciting way to live. You just get so hungry for it, and there's so much available. It's so exciting to live like that. So start where you are. If you want to read a book, that's great, but you don't really practice from a book unless you're practicing that internal intuition. And
Right.
I knew that kind of stuff. Okay. And there's plenty about that. You're very drawn to law of attraction. So whether you read The Secret, which is the highly commercialized, mass marketed concepts, or the Hicks, Ask and It's Given.
Right.
And Ask and It's Given is the origination. But I even question that because the law of attraction was in the business world far, far ahead of the spiritual world. Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, all those guys way back when, they were all doing the law of attraction in corporate settings. Imagine your success. Imagine yourself being in the boardroom. Imagine what you want, and bring it to you. How does that feel? All those, the same concepts, but geared toward corporate. And then spiritual stuff said, oh, wait, that's ours. Okay, you can have it, but we had it too. So it's
for everyone.
It's for everyone. It's for everyone.
Yeah. You don't necessarily need to be, spiritual at all in order to attract the things that you want.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You got to be careful because it's sort of, I don't want to say it's scientific, but it might be scientific. You know, whatever you want is already out there. So it's just a matter of it finding you and you finding it. But some people get really good at manifesting. And, you know, sometimes we manifest things we don't really want. You know, oh, I feel sick, I feel sick, I feel sick. Subconscious mind says, I'm on it, makes you sick. You know, very lighthearted example. But it's got to be full commitment. Law of attraction is really fun.
It's really fun. And I think, yeah, it's definitely fun to learn. It, at least for me, it's taking me forever, though, to feel like I had a good understanding of it, or to feel like I could create. You know, I would listen to Abraham Hicks when I was going hard at the gym. And that's what I would listen to when I was lifting.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would listen to Esther Hicks, you know, speaking to an audience, and it would feel so foreign to me. Like I wanted, like I believed it and was eating up everything that she was saying, but like I didn't really believe that like I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I moved kind of into another company that's called To Be Magnetic, and they go through like going through your traumas and raising your self-worth so that you believe, truly believe that you can have the things that you want, because they believe that you attract from your subconscious.
It's the feeling.
Yes, like the
not
true
the thoughts,
feeling.
not the thoughts. It's below.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Why couldn't you have what you want? Why couldn't you?
Right. Why couldn't you?
Why not?
I know. I think, you know, for me, it's just, I don't know. It's just been a bumpy road. Sometimes I can manifest very well. And sometimes I have a harder time, but it's all in my beliefs of myself. Really, that's my blocks, is myself.
But you participate. You know, there's a story I tell people, and this is a true story, and it almost seems hard to believe, but true story. Years and years ago, in Farmington Valley, this psychic astrologer used to come from Seattle, and he would visit every spring and every fall. And he had a great following out here, and everybody would go to him in the spring, and then they would go to him in the fall, and they'd go to him in the spring. You know, it's every 6 months people would have their chart done and everything like that. And this woman from Avon went to him, and he's told this story because he uses this as an example. And she wanted to sell her house. And he looked at the chart and he said, I don't very often go out on a limb like this, but there is absolutely nothing on your chart that indicates you will not sell this house. This chart is as clear as a bell. This house is going to sell. Oh, she's ecstatic, right? She's ecstatic. Off she goes. 6 months later, he's back. She makes an appointment. She comes in furious, absolutely furious. The house did not sell. He said, I remember your chart. It was that clear. It was that memorable. I can't imagine how this house could not sell. They had a very brief conversation. Come to find out, she never put it on the market. True story. Because he said, the chart indicates this house is going to sell. Why would she do anything? The universe is like, the house is going to sell. True story. We need to take the steps. We need to take the first step, then the universe meets us.
Right. I was going to say, like, you kind of have to, I don't want to say prove yourself, but it is a partnership. Like, you have to say, I'm in this, and this is truly what I want. And actions really do speak louder than words.
Do your work.
Yes.
I know, it's kind of mind-blowing, but I guess clearly it happens that, you know, and I don't know if anybody uses pendulums in their healings to measure things like that. If anything in your torso is ever swinging vertically, it's swinging up toward the crown, that indicates that you're giving you're giving everything to spirit, that you're not participating. You're just saying, here, I'm doing what spirit says. Unfortunately, a lot of people in traumatic relationships and abusive relationships, one of the ways that they unfortunately try to work it out, they feel they can't leave. So they say, this is my journey. This is my journey. This is what God, or this is what the universe wants me to experience in this lifetime. It's like, maybe not. Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe try to get yourself out before you're killed. You know?
I believe maybe they're here to learn a certain lesson through this experience, but I think the goal is to
maybe how to get out.
yes, is to get out of it and live,
Yeah.
you know, and be free. And
So this kind of swing is like it's a spiritual imbalance. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if anybody, you know, does use a pendulum and sees that swing, that's about abdicating your power and giving everything to spirit, universe, whatever, stepping out of the partnership.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Dory, for coming and talking. I feel like I could have talked to you for
we can go on for hours.
some more time. And we should.
I'll come back. I mean, I didn't have to go far.
I know, right? I mean, this is always possible, COVID or not.
Right.
So yeah.
Our world has changed now that we know that we are effective from our own homes. I don't know what people are going to do with these huge insurance companies, these buildings. You know, we don't need, we're untethered right now. We could work remotely just as effectively as if we were in person for many occupations. So,
and I'd be interested to find out, you know, if people, you know, how they are working from home. Are they more productive because they're in a more comfortable space, or are they unproductive because, you know, they're at home?
Yeah, it's there's a lot of factors to that. Like the introverts, I'm an introvert. We're thriving. We're thriving. Oh, yeah. One of those memes out there says, you know, we've been training for this our whole lives.
Right.
And we hear that things are opening back up. We're like, no, it's
like, no, I love this.
Too soon. We're very comfortable where we are right now. Thank you. But the extroverts are starving to death. They are starving. They're having a horrible time. Horrible time.
I definitely, I mean, I think the thing I miss the most are spiritual expos. Like, that's what I'm craving, because like, I want to be growing and learning. And like, I love going to the expos just to talk to people. And
why don't you put one on in your area?
Huh?
You do one. Put one on in your area.
Yeah, when COVID is over.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll have to call you up and, you know, learn from the best on that. And I never got to talk to you about those. So yes, we'll have to come back so that I can ask you more questions about your spiritual expos and how you got into that and all, because I'm really interested in all of that too.
Yeah, that's a story. Another thing that was just handed to me. It's just, I don't know. You know, sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like, I never would have figured that I'd be doing this stuff that I do. It wasn't on my radar. It's like, here, you want to do this? Sure, I'll try it. And it's like, oh, I really like this. So someone somewhere knows me.
Right. I that's just like such a testament to, you just have to be open and, you know, kind of ready for anything, because for me, it's like, you know, I love it when the universe or whoever is, whatever is like, amazes me and, you know, more or less hands me these opportunities, you know, and that's usually how it happens. So I feel like, you know, trying to control or plan anything, you know, I just feel like, you know, I don't know. It might pay off more to just let go and let somebody else take the wheel.
well, it's almost like, are you ready for this? We
Yeah.
think you are. I
Right.
think you are. Do you think you are? So
Right.
there's, there's courage involved. Like, I'm procrastinating. I'm going to write a book about haunted Collinsville. So I'm going to collect 40 stories where our whole town, I swear to God, the whole town is haunted.
The whole town is like the coolest
It
town
really is.
in Connecticut. It's like a storybook Halloween town.
It is. It so is. And I don't know why this book doesn't exist. I think it's because I'm supposed to write it. And I am nervous about announcing it to the town. People are going to be like,
Really?
I'm ready for criticism. Oh, yeah. But I think there's going to be enough support. We love Halloween. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I
You
feel like they'll all think it's very cool.
I hope so. I'm going to do it this week. I might even do it tomorrow. I'm going to put up the first post announcing it, inviting stories. So this is my next
Where are
kind of
you going to post it?
Collinsville Facebook page.
Okay. Collinsville Facebook page.
Collinsville Facebook page.
And okay, for any of our viewers that want to follow along on your journey or what you're up to and doing, where can they find you?
They can't find me. Boundaries. No, I'm just kidding. I can't say that I maintain my website as well as I should, but it's myname.com, Dory Dzinski.
I would say that you update it when there's stuff going on.
I
And
do.
I'm also signed up for your newsletter,
Okay. The door opener.
the
Right.
Door Opener newsletter.
That's another website. The door, no, dooropenermagazine.com. Dooropenermagazine.com.
Right.
And there's hardly anything going on right now. It's very scant.
Right.
As far as events, but the practitioner directories are up there, spiritual guidance directory, holistic health directory. There's stuff there. But
Right. And as things start to open up,
I'm hoping, I'm thinking, I mean, I'm gonna try to have an expo in September.
I think you should. I think
So,
you should.
I have
I mean, if everyone's going to be vaccinated in the summer, then
right. Yeah.
let's stay positive about it and keep
I
those
miss them.
positive vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.